Alright then guys, this is going to be a first of basically a couple little episodes I'm going to be doing of just audio only. I explain it a lot more in a video that'll be coming up where I'm going through my predictions that I made at basically the start of lockdown about how this whole season's going to finish. But yeah, it's going to be an audio only. It just allows you to, listen to this and do other stuff. It's not something that I'm going to spend too much time working on. It's not something that I need to do as editing in. It just means that I can get stuff done a lot quicker and I can get it out for you a lot sooner. It's just a nice little thing that I thought I'd do. And yeah, let's get into it. Basically, this episode is going to be about our squad for the end of this season, going into next season, who I think we should be getting, who we have currently, and who shouldn't still be there. But yeah, let's get into it. I'm going to have a look on the transfer market. That's probably one of the best places you can go to for your football needs in terms of transfers and squad values and just everything, to be honest. Everything that you could need to do a football. I don't know how good the stats are, but yeah, pretty much everything you could need is on the transfer market. I'm basically going to go through every single player and say whether we need them, whether we should be selling them, whether we should be loaning, basically what you should be doing with every single person in the Manchester United squad. Let's start off with the obvious, David De Gea. I think that for him, it depends really. I don't really think anyone's going to be going in for him because he's got another 3 years left on his contract. He's got a big fat check, so he's not going to be worrying about making money, and no one's going to want to pay the wages that he wants to get given. So it depends. If Dean Henderson comes in next season and he stays our number one keeper, depends on if David De Gea wants to be playing regular football. If he does, he might take a pay cut, but at the same time, I don't know how good it will look for the likes of Ollie or the board if we have the world's most highest paid goalkeeper just sat on our bench. I don't know how that's all going to go down. So with David De Gea, it's quite a contentious one. I have no idea how it's going to work with De Gea. Like I said, there's different factors that are going to change. But for David De Gea, I'm probably just going to say keep for now. And Sergio Romero, he's a player that a lot of Man United fans love. He's here till next season, unless he does a contract extension. I hate to say it, I reckon we keep him one more season and then let him go when his contract runs out. He'll be 34 at that point. He won't be young. He's a very good number 2, but there's clearly a reason why he's never pushed on to be a number 1, especially since David De Gea has had such a poor run of form recently. So with Romero, love the guy, but I don't think he'll be happy being third choice. There's no point of having him be third choice. Likes of Lee Grant is the perfect third choice goalkeeper. He's quite reliable, and when he's called upon, he'll play, but if not, he's happy to sit on the bench and, not being paid very much, so he's happy to sit there, and it's not really too much of a damper on our wage structure. The next in is Joel Pereira. He's he's came from the academy. He's been on loan throughout his whole season, basically. He's been pretty much on loan his whole career, actually, to be honest. His contract also runs out at the end of next season, so whether we want to cash in on him, he's not particularly young. He's 24, so he's got a good career left on him, but I don't know. He's just never really kicked on. He's looked good when he's played, but he hasn't really been that involved in the Manchester United team, so I wouldn't really think we should keep him. He's probably not going to be too expensive for a side to sign him, so I reckon either if we're going to get rid of him now. I wouldn't say make him sign a new contract because there's no point, he doesn't play. So if we want to get rid of him this summer where we can actually get a bit of money for him, because if he goes next season it's on a free, and then there's no point of even having him in the first place. The first 3 here, I'm just going to quickly go over. Maguire, Lindelof, Bailly. They don't go anywhere. They're signed on. Bailly's here for another 2 years, Victor's here for another 4 years, and Harry another 5. They're not going anywhere. There's no point of even arguing what's going to happen with them. They're not going anywhere. Harry Maguire, our club captain, Victor Lindelof, he's been pretty good this season, and to be honest, he's been given a lot of blame when Harry Maguire deserves a lot more than he does, to be honest. Victor Lindelof's been given a lot of blame for everything that's been going on recently, and I'm going to be honest, more of the mistakes have come Harry Maguire's end than have been with Eric Bailly. Alright then, so we've got Marcus Rojo. His contract runs out next season. He's been on loan most of the season. He's been at Estudiantes, I believe, in Argentina, and that's where I think he should go. I love the guy. He's an absolute lunatic. Contract runs out next season. We can get a bit of money for him, maybe 10 million, maybe. and everything else helps. I guess that could be basically like 11% of our needs to sign Sancho. So maybe getting him off the wage bill, getting a bit of money for him is what we need, and he's not going to play. He's a bit of a liability. Like I said, I love the guy, he's an absolute nutter, but he's not going to fit in the squad. Alright, next up we have Axel Tuanzebe, who is a player who, let's be honest, if it wasn't for injuries, would have kicked on and would have started a lot more games this season. Especially the fact that we've been very leaky at the back. He's looked quite good when he's come in, apart from that Arsenal game where he played left back, which isn't his favoured position, where he made a couple of mistakes, one that led to an Aubameyang goal. But let's be honest, it was probably one of his first games back since injury and just since everything's been going on. He's still 22, he's still got another 2 years. So I'd say if he doesn't have many more injury problems, we should keep him in the squad, keep him playing. But until then, we can't really know, because if he's got injury problems, then there's no point of keeping him on the wage bill. There's no point keeping him if he's not going to be able to play for us. Next up is Philip Jones. Well, he signed a new contract recently, which has surprised me. But that being said, I think he signed it before we brought in Harry Maguire and before we looked quite secure. He's here for another 3 years. That's one of the people that, to be honest, we could probably cash in for a good amount of money. And I reckon he could do a good job at the likes of maybe a Southampton or maybe a Championship side like a Stoke. But I don't feel that he can't do the business at Manchester United anymore. We saw what happened when he played that one game against Sheffield United. He got bullied and got brought off. So I don't see any need for Phil Jones. We can once again probably get maybe 6-7 million for him, which again, it's not much, but it will contribute to the Sancho. Don't want Sanchez. It'll contribute to the whole Sancho deal, get his wage. To be honest, with the whole Rojo and what's his name, Phil Jones. I even forgot his name. With the whole Rojo and Jones deals, that's probably the wage for Sancho right there. So it's not going to be too bad to get him off the books. It has listed here Dijon Bernard and Teden Mengi, 2 young players. You've got Teden Mengi, who looks very good in the academy sides. Same with Dijon Bernard. I'm pretty sure Dijon Bernard played. I think he scored an own goal in Astana. So that's probably not the greatest start for him. He's contracted till next season. I'm hoping that he signs an extension because he's looked good when he's played. I watched a bit of the academy and he looks decent. Teden Mengi, only 18. So I feel like, to be honest, he'll probably play in the under 21s next season. I don't think this season will be his breakthrough season. I know that Greenwood has broken through at 18, but it's very different when you're a centre-back. You have to be a bit more cultured. So I'm going to say give him a chance to bulk up a bit, probably grow into his size. And I'd say put Teden Mengi in the under-21s next season. Allow him to have that one step up from the under-18s where he's been playing. Maybe play him in maybe some cup competitions. I've got to say Europa. We're not in Europa next season. We're in Champions League, mate. Yeah. Oh, God, I almost said Europa. God damn it. So I'd say put him in Europa, though, for when we play in a couple of weeks' time. Put him in the Europa squad for Lask because we're not losing 6-0, so we're pretty much guaranteed next round of the competition. But yeah, Teden Mengi, Dijon Bernard. Teden Mengi has got 2 years on his contract, so he should be fine for now. Dijon Bernard signed him a new contract, and maybe bet him into the squad for cup competitions. Alright, now I've got Luke Shaw and Brandon Williams. Both of them, I'm going to say the exact same thing. Keep them. Between those two, we've got pretty solid left-back opportunities there. We've got 2 people that are somewhat similar qualities. Luke Shaw is a more experienced and probably, in terms of quality currently, is probably the better player. But then when you look at Brandon Williams, he has the higher ceiling. He's a bit of a nutcase. He loves the side. He would fight for every single ball. He fights to the last minute. Brandon Williams, I'd say. Again, both of them have a good amount of time on their contracts. There's no point of trying to ship them on. And they're both playing quite frequently. Luke Shaw is currently out injured, sadly, so Brandon Williams has stepped in his place. And to be honest, he has looked shaky, but he's 19. Give him a chance. He'll come good. But yeah, next season I feel like it'll be quite interesting to see Luke Shaw when he's fully fit and Brandon Williams battling it out. So I don't feel like there's any need to get rid of any of them. And to be honest, there are only 2 left backs. There's no point of doing anything. And I don't really feel like, because of how good they have been this season, that hasn't been a weakness. When you're looking at the squad and who we need to be signing, left back definitely isn't up there. So to be honest, I feel I'm happy with those 2. Keep them for next season. We're going to right back spot. We've got quite a few listed here. We've got Wan-Bissaka, Delot, Timbo, and we've got Ethan Laird. Wan-Bissaka, obviously, don't need to really talk about it. 4 years on the contract. He's been immense at the start of the season. Keep him. Diogo Dalot. I'm going to be brutally honest. I love the guy. He's looked good when he's come in. He looked good when he played in the cup competitions. He scored. He's a very good attacking player. But that being said, we need someone that's a bit more assured at the back. He isn't that. He's only 21, so he has definitely got room to grow. But we have also been given offers by the likes of Barcelona for him. And I'm going to be honest, if they're going to offer us like 35 million for Dalot, we have to take it. Again, like I said before, getting off the wage bill. And if he's a player that, at this point, with Timothy Fosu-Mensah coming in, he seems to secure that backup right-back spot. And Ethan Laird will be in as well at some point. He'll be securing a second or third choice right-back. So Dalot is just getting pushed further and further down the pecking order. And the more we let him age and the more we let him just sit on the bench, the less value he has. So I'd say at this point, when his market value is probably peaking before he plays, I'd say sell him on right now. Again, it's a bit upsetting, but at this point we have to be ruthless. If you're not playing, you have to go. We need to use the money that we get from selling players to buy the likes of Jadon Sancho or Jackie Grealish, or just players that we need. Okay then, I mentioned him a second ago, glossed over him, Timothy Fosu-Mensah. He's currently our second choice right back. He's only contracted for another year, so at this point I'd say sign him on for another 2 years. I'd say sign him on to about 2023, which is when I reckon we should probably sign him on till. He hasn't played much. He came in against Palace and he played his first game for United in 3 years. So yeah, I say bring in Timbo for a bit longer. He's impressed when he's been in. He hasn't been the greatest in terms of output, but his energy is immense, and you can't really fault him. He's looked good when he's come in, and he's there. He'll do a job. He'll do a job at right back. He'll do a job at left back. He'll do a job at centre back. I've even seen him play in the midfield. So he's a very versatile player. Sign him up for a bit longer. That's my point. And Ethan Laird hasn't had much of an opportunity in the actual Manchester United first team squad. So I would say give him an opportunity. I reckon he'll impress. I think that if it wasn't for his injury, the opportunity that Brandon Williams getting right now would be Ethan Laird. So it's a bit upsetting that he did get himself injured. I've watched him in the academy and he has looked good. So I feel like, yeah, give him his opportunities next season, Ollie, and you won't regret it. That's for certain. That's the end of our defenders. I'm going to have a look at our midfielders now. I'm going to start off with Nemanja Matic. He's looked good this season. I'm going to say that with the slight bit of scepticism that he has as well teetered off near the end, which is what we saw when we were under Jose. He literally ground him. He literally ran him into the ground. So Matic, he's very good, but he can't play too often. He's probably one of our best players from maybe January to March time, and then probably since the return he looked good in the first couple of games, but ever since that he's looked tired, he's looked leggy, he's looked shaky. So what I'd say is definitely keep him around the squad, because the likes of maybe a Scott McTominay or a Jimmy Garner would really learn from Matic. So although he may not be doing the squad much of a service by playing, he'll definitely be helping to improve those who are going to be replacing him in the future. And he's here until 2023. Let's not get rid of him. He hasn't really got a massive amount of market. He won't be breaking the bank for people to buy him. So I feel like there's no point really shipping him on. I feel like I'm happy with where he's at. I feel like I'm happy with him being at Manchester United. Like I said, he'll be here for training those for the future. Speaking of those for the future, Jimmy Garner. He looked good when he came in against Astana. He's had a couple of little run-ins in cup competitions and league games, like right at the end. He's contracted till 2022. He's a 19-year-old that scores double digits worth of goals from defensive midfielder. What can I say? The lad's incredible. He's probably a future captain at Manchester United and probably a future captain at England. I'm pretty certain he's captain to Manchester United and England at every single age group. So don't be surprised if he's a future Manchester United and England captain. Not going to go much into him, there's no point. Just he's incredible. If you watch the academy, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. Alright, I'm going to say the next three again all together because they're in very similar positions for me. Paul Pogba, Scott McTominay and Fred. Paul Pogba, he's on till 2021. There's no point in shipping him on. I think we had the right to sign him for an extra year, so but to 2022. he's had his doubts. We don't know whether he's staying or not. He's struggled a little bit at times this season, but I've been very impressed with how he's adapted his game since Bruno has come in. I'm not wanting to get rid of him anytime soon. He's our best player on his day when he's showing, when everybody is at their maximum potential. Paul Pogba is the best player at Manchester United, so there's no point in getting rid of him. If we can keep hold of him, let's keep hold of him. Let's just try and stop all the circus. Let's just try and avoid everything that goes on with having the likes of Paul Pogba in the side, the likes of Mino Raiola trying to control the media. Let's try and stop all that, and let's just be happy that we've got one of the best midfielders in the world in our squad. Alright then, Scott McTominay and Fred. I mentioned them a second ago, said that they're in similar positions. McTominay and Fred, I think that they looked good as a partnership, but they're not at the quality that Manchester United want to be at in terms of we want to be challenging titles. They're definitely a very, very capable squad rotation players, and the likes of playing in the cup games or last 20 minutes of a game, bringing them on to just bring that little bit of energy. So that being said, with them, I'm going to say keep them. There's no point of getting rid of them. They've got contracts for a good long time. Scotty McTominay, he's a United fan. He came from the academy. Fred seems to get on with everybody. He came a couple of years ago for, I think it's like 50 million. So there's no point shipping them on. They've both been good this season. Yeah, nothing much more to say. And then we've got Andreas Pereira and Juan Mata. I feel like both of their times at Old Trafford are up. They're going to be using the Europa, but I feel like that's going to be their farewell tournament. Andreas Pereira, again, is upsetting because he came from the academy. He had such promise that he showed in pre-season, but he never really showed for the first choice team. He to be honest, if you look at his skills, his qualities, he's definitely a good player, but his decision making is woeful. He'll go around like two people and just hit it from 40 yards when it's like an open ball. So I'm going to quote, there's a channel that I watch called Stretford Paddock, great channel, go subscribe. There's a channel that I watch, and there's a quote from there that I think describes it perfectly. This is in terms of him being incredible decision making. You can be the world's best chef, but if you keep buying pillowcases instead of steaks, you're going to make a shit meal. That perfectly describes Pereira in a nutshell, if you're asking me. But yeah, what an analogy. I feel like Pereira needs to be shipped on. We could probably he's still quite young. We could probably get like 20-25 mil for him, and I can see him going on having a good career somewhere that isn't Manchester United. So I feel like selling him on. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Selling him for about 20-25 mil to whatever club wants him. And then Juan Mata, he's been a great servant to the club. He's been here through our tough times. He came here for Chelsea. He was their best player, and then he joined Manchester United. He's 32 now. He has a little bit to give, but his legs are gone. 1 year left on his contract. I feel like we need to sell him on, but be respectful about it. Let's not try and force him out the door. If he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go. He's got restaurants in Manchester. He clearly loves the place. He clearly loves Manchester United. So if he wants to go, let him go. If he wants to stay right out of his contract, let him do that. At this point, we're not going to get incredible amounts of money for him. He's been an incredible servant to the club. Let him do what he wants to do, Let him do what he wants to do. And we're going to round it off with the magician himself, Bruno Fernandes. Sign him for another 10 years. He's on for another 5 at this point. Sign him for another 10. I don't care. Clip this up. He's been our best players this season. He's only been here since February. He's been our best player. It's arguable, but he's been our best player. I mean, I did a podcast with my cousin, and we both put him in our teams of the season, and he was our signing of the season. So you can't really argue with how phenomenal he's been. He's got something like 20 games, 17 goal contributions, something ridiculous like that. But it's something like 17 goal contributions in 14 starts. He's averaging more than a goal per game every time he starts. That's just ridiculous. Like, we saw his numbers out in Portugal, and we didn't believe it would be the case. But he's proven that it is. If he plays a full season, his output's going to be amazing. Don't be surprised if he hits like a 40 goal contribution season next season. Probably the likes of maybe a 20 goal, 20 odd assist, or maybe a 15 goal, 25 assist. He might break the assist record next season. Who knows? He's got 8 so far this season, and he's been here since February. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at all. Alright then, now we're into the attackers, which, to be honest, there isn't much to talk about. You've got Odin Nagalo, who can't really talk about much. He goes in January. He's just here on loan. Love the guy. He loves the club. Yeah, it's sad to see him leave, but he isn't the calibre of striker we want. Alright then, let's move over to Heath Chong. Recently signed a new contract for Manchester United. He hasn't set the world alight when he's played. He has looked good at times. He got the nod over the likes of Angel Gomez and all that lot because he signed a contract. It's as simple as that. And he's looked good. He has looked good in the academy, and he hasn't quite translated that to the first choice team yet. It's sad because he's looked good, but I don't see him having a future at Manchester United. He's still only 20, so we can probably get some good money for him because he's young, he's got experience, he's played in European competitions, he's played in League Cups, he's played in Premier League. Just a CV like that can probably warrant about 15 million. So I reckon maybe we sell on to Heath Chong. He's not on an incredible wage. He's only here for another 2 years. He signed a new contract, but it wasn't a proper long-term one. Sell him off, get some money, buy Jadon Sancho. Right then, Jesse Lingard. I've said this for pretty much everybody. Love the guy, but he isn't. He's a United player, he's a United fan, and let's be honest, if you're going to ever think about a Jesse Lingard goal, the goal he scored against Leicester properly encapsulates that. He's working hard, pressing from the front, pouncing on any mistake the goalkeeper's going to make, collecting the ball and finishing it. It was a Jesse Lingard goal. His hard work paid off. It's really upsetting to say this, but I think it's his time to leave. Like I said it so many times, I love the guy, but he hasn't got the output we need. At this point, we're a club that is pushing and wanting to be the best, and you just can't have people with numbers like that playing. It's upsetting, like I said, because I love him, and he's a United fan, and he takes everything that everyone says about him. He hears it. So it's really upsetting to hear. It's really upsetting to say that I think he should be going. He's 27. I can see him doing a job at maybe like a Stoke or a Burnley, sadly, or maybe a Southampton, a team that loves to press. Maybe even a Crystal Palace, who knows. He definitely doesn't deserve to leave the Premier League. He's too good for that. But I don't feel like he's good enough to be in a side that is pushing for Champions Leagues, League Cups, Premier Leagues. I don't feel like he's there anymore. It's upsetting. He's had a good career. He's won almost anything there is to win, except from, the big competitions like the Champions League and Premier League. But he's won the League Cup, won the FA Cup. He's scored winners in the League Cup and FA Cup finals, and he's played in Europa League finals and won those. So he's definitely had a good career, but it's just sad to see that. I feel like that goal against Leicester was his last. I feel like his last action in a Manchester United top. Alright, next up, we have a couple left to go. It's Dan James. Only signed him last summer, and he has impressed when he's... At the start of the season, he impressed, but I feel like the start of the season was just one of those things where he just hit a good run of form, and the second it dipped, we saw the type of player he is. I feel like a lot of Manchester United fans now are going to base his performances that he's putting in game after game on the performances he put in at the start of the season. That just isn't him. He isn't as good as he showed he is. He will score goals for you. I mean, he's scored goals since. He scored goals. He scored, I think it was the fourth one against LASK. Don't quote me on that, but he's definitely scored goals since his purple patch. So I feel like he's definitely a great squad player. He's the type of player that you can bring on when we're struggling or when we're a couple goals up and we just run a team ragged and they look shattered. Like, imagine bringing up a Marcus Rashford and bringing on Danny James. Like, defences will be scared of us. They won't catch a second to breathe. So I feel like he's definitely not starting 11. Like, he wasn't start the season. That was just due to numbers and just due to the fact that we just didn't have anybody else there. I feel like when we've got our strongest possible squad, he won't be in it. He'll definitely be on the bench because he's an incredible person to bring off the bench, but he's definitely not the type of level we're thriving towards. He's here for another 4 years. Let's keep him. Let's just gloss over that. He's 22. He's got a career ahead of him. Let's just keep him. All right, then. It's the final three. It is an incredible three. Mason Greenwood, Martial, Marcus Rashford, the trio that scored 60 goals this season. what a number. 60 goals between them. Let me just say that again. 60 goals between them. And they have an average age of 21 and a half. That is frightening. That could be our attack for another century. Like, not even kidding. I mean, I am kidding, because it's not a century. But oh, that was a bit of a hiccup, wasn't it? That isn't what I meant. I definitely didn't mean century. What did I mean? I don't know why I said century. That's, that's not what I meant to say at all. But there could be our attacking force from over 8 years, and that is a frightening prospect. An attacking front three that have been together for 8 years and understand how each other plays. That is frightening. Greenwood signed a new contract this season, which is why he's had an extended run in the squad. Marcus Rashford is here for another 3 years minimum. Martial is here for another 4. They both recently signed contracts. Not sure about Martial, but I know that Greenwood is a massive football fan. I know that Marcus Rashford is a massive fan of Manchester United and just a massive fan of Manchester in general, which is why he's been doing all of this incredible charity work, earning himself that doctorate from Manchester University. What a guy he is. But yeah, they're not going anywhere. Unfortunate for every other football team out there. Martial, Rashford, Greenwood staying where they are. But let's just quickly give a quick overview of those that I want to be out the club. I want to say Sergio Romero, sadly, Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones, Dalot, Pereira, Mata, Lingard, Chong. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players on the outs. And let's include 9 for Ighalo, why not? So by January, 9 players will be gone. In order for that to happen, we definitely need to bring in players in the summer. That being said, out of those 9, I'd say only 4 of them were probably players that would get onto our bench. So although it looks like it's bad getting rid of 9 players, I think we've got a 37-man squad I've just listed there. So there's no point of getting worried about it. Let's just get rid of those players, get rid of those 4 players that'll be on the bench, and let's bring in 4, maybe even 3 players that were good enough to start. So that's the likes of Jackie Grealish, Jadon Sancho. We've got some players that have been linked to, no one concrete yet, no one signed. And yeah, I'm going to be going properly into transfer business in my next video. This is part 1 of what I'm going to be doing to end off this season, just talking about the Manchester United squad, how it needs to be. And yeah, it's just the end of what has been episode 1, the Manchester United squad and season review. See you in the next one.